Hello, hello. I'm really hoping these frames don't keep dropping. But we are starting off right in the start. Let's back up. Okay. Listen up, everybody. If you don't take cooking seriously, somebody's gonna get hurt. You're gonna have a bad time. This is part of your education as well, so don't fool around and do it seriously. A lazy, yeah, wafted through the class in response. Half of the school day today was going to be home economics class. Plan was for everybody to make curry rice and give it to the forest rangers who let this building be rented out as a school. If everybody were making curry in the same pot, it would have been more of a party-like atmosphere. But this was school, after all. Excluding the youngest students, each one of us will be making our own curry, with the results being judged. Alright, everybody. It may be that nowadays curry is an easy meal anybody can make, but it has its roots in traditional Indian cuisine. Even though we've altered it a bit in the Japanese style, it is still instilled with the knowledge and culture of ancient India. Absolutely do not neglect that fact. I'll have words with anybody who doesn't take this seriously, so be prepared for that. That seemed like a needlessly passionate sermon on curry. Well, whatever. It's rumored that Chie-sensei has devoted her life to curry. She'll probably be a pretty strict judge. As long as you're not failing, your grade in home ec doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter at all. I wouldn't say that if I were you. The teacher's a tyrant when it comes to curry. What the heck does that even mean? A curry tyrant? Never heard of that before. You see, our normally mild-mannered teacher, for some unfathomable reason, is a stickler for curry. Unyieldingly so. Yeah. It's said that every year she goes on a journey to India to research mythical curry. This is just a rumor, but it seems that she eats curry rice 3 meals a day, and if she occasionally has something else, it's always has to be curry flavored. That's not unyielding. That's unnatural. Is she part of an evil cult or something? Unlike the good cults. Besides, doesn't curry top the list when it comes to junk food? Curry 3 times a day is just weird, nutritionally speaking, and... Thunk, thunk, thunk. Embedded into the table right by my fingertips, a chef's knife, ladle, and spatula hung gently as they still quivered. The teacher, while still mixing her own pot, was looking this way, smiling. Kei-chan, shh. If you say any more than that, you'll be sleeping with the fishes. Saying even a little bit more would make my situation a lot more dire. Yeah. Just be serious and make your curry properly and everything's good, alright? I don't think it's going to be that easy today. Look, Michan is... It's written all over her face. If the playing field is even and we're being judged, there's no way this won't turn into a competition. It looks like we're all on the same page. It's a cooking contest! I knew it. There's no way Mion would leave such an enticing event alone. How shall we determine the victor? By how the teacher judges it? As if saying, but wait, there's more. The teacher reappeared with the principal in tow. But wait, there's more. The purpose of today's event is to show appreciation for people at the forestry service, so they'll be judging the results with me. Yep, your teacher and I, as well as 5 people from the forestry service, will be judging your cooking. What a nice coincidence to have 7 impartial judges. Good luck to everyone. Ga ha 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 ha. Even the principal? Looking around, it seemed like the interests of everybody in the class had been piqued. So that's what's happening. This isn't going to just be some casual curry cook-off. Ren is good at making curry. I'm not going to lose today. My grade is cooking in a group, so I'm together with Rika. That's unfair. I'm pretty sure that Rika is good at cooking. My curry is so tasty it'll send shivers down your spine from the poison. What about Mion? She doesn't seem like she's too good at cooking. Her type has always been bad at this kind of thing. But Mion continued to look unconcerned. I'll tell you what Kei-chan is thinking right now. Mion is definitely bad at cooking. Am I right? I don't like the way she said that. It couldn't be. Mion couldn't possibly. At that moment, the teacher's whistle sounded. Alright everybody, are you ready? Be very careful with the knives. Start! The call to arms had sounded. Dun 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 dun. We had to use an outdoor kit to cook the rice, but it wasn't that difficult for a camping veteran like me. Put the rice in the canister, push your palm to the bottom, and fill with water to just above the wrist. Are you alright with only that much water? If you don't put in more, it could be bad. You filthy liar. If I put in any more, I'll just be left with some half-cooked porridge. Satsuko, if that's meant to be a trick, it won't work. I'm used to cooking rice with these utensils. First, it starts to bubble, then the steam starts to puff, and don't take off the lid no matter what. Keiichi-kun, you're amazing. This is a little unexpected. Did you learn this at summer camp? My dad really likes to go camping, see? Whenever summer comes around, our family goes a lot. So this means everybody's good at cooking the rice. In other words, the critical part of this challenge will be the curry. Curry is Rika's specialty. We'll cream you all. You lost me at Rika's. Why don't you help with the cooking too? Maybe Satsuko-chan is helping the most by doing nothing at all. The ends justify the means. I just had to win. That was a pretty malicious comment for Rena. And Satsuko took it hook, line, and sinker. Rena could only apologize between fits of laughter while Satsuko chased her around. Well now, should we move on to the curry? For now the battle truly begins. After rinsing off the carrots, potatoes, and other standard vegetables, I grasped the knife. Gulp. What will today's curry taste like? As Rena hummed along, her very well-practiced hands wielded her knife. The rhythmical sound of the knife hitting the cutting board harkened to kind images of days long past. With a bat. Simply put, it was perfect. It was so common practice, I seriously don't stand a chance. I looked over at Satsuko and Rika-chan. Satsuko was in charge of washing the vegetables, while Rika-chan was in charge of peeling them. That's why I heard being discussed, but Rika-chan's knife skills are something else as well. She was happily rotating the potato and peeling it quite quickly. On top of that, the peels spanned the entire potato. What was that called again? Katsuramuki? I heard that peeling a vegetable in one loop roll around like that is a highly regarded technique. She picked up the peel from the sink and carved a pair of eyes into it with her knife. It's a snake. Rawr. Saying that, she placed the longly peeled potato skin on top of the head of a boy from her group. She wasn't even breaking a sweat. When it comes to Rika-chan and cooking, I couldn't even hold a candle to her. But, roar? Do snakes make that sound? Thanks for calling that out too. Alright then, how's Mion doing? She's definitely just fumbling along. There's no way she can peel a potato so effortlessly like that. Absolutely no way. This can't be! You've gotta be kidding me. This is a trick. This a trick. She's using special effects. Where's the wire? She's definitely using a wire. Here, take a look-see. As if she had already won, Mion proudly showed me the elongated potato skin. You didn't know, Keiichi? Mi was taught how to cook by her grandma. Not just cooking. From sewing to flower arrangement to playing the koto. From marksmanship to radio operation, even helicopter piloting is but one of the myriad things she can do. Strangely enough, the latter items were more realistic. It was the first few items on that list that seemed like a lie. She's actually really good at cooking. It's just such a hassle that she never does it, though. Damn it! I'm also really good at cooking. Especially Chinese food. Keiichi, boiling something and pouring it into a bowl doesn't count as cooking. I'm getting called out here. Shot down before I could even say it. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Too bad for you. Today, Keiichi-san shall be assuredly languishing in defeat all along. Clank. Tough words from somebody who can't even cook by herself. Wah! Rika! There. I'll destroy Keiichi for you. God, this does not look good. Everybody's smirking at me. Don't raise the right flag yet, Keiichi, my bro. Don't throw away this match. Calm down and think. What's the penalty? Not about how to peel these potatoes well, but about how to win this challenge. Sabotage. There's too many people watching. I'm going to work at another sink. Saying only that, I gathered up all the vegetables and left that spot behind. Will Keiichi-kun be alright? I'm worried he might cut himself with his knife. Let's see what Kei-chan's doing. No matter how hard I try peeling these, if I slip up at this speed, I'll lop my fingers right off. Then, there's only one thing left to do. Tomichi-kun, Okamura-kun. Oh, you guys were in a group of 4, huh? It was the 2 underclassmen that had become my sworn brothers ever since the event at that toy store last Sunday. They had been paired with 2 girls for their group. Yep. Both the girls are pretty good at cooking. So both of us can just mess around and we'll be okay. Both of them pointing at the girls. They're not as good as Rena, but they were both good enough at handling a knife. I'll get straight to the point. At this rate, I'm going to lose this contest. Give me the vegetables your group has peeled already. My bar-san, that's pretty much theft. But depending on what's in it for us. In other words, it depends on the terms of negotiation. Quite bold of you guys. Well, that's to be expected. Then, let's do this. If I win, I'll let you eat the curry that Satoko and Riku-chan's group makes. How about that? Eh? I don't know about that. Both of them were hesitant after such a weighty proposal. Just one more little push seems in order. Very well then, let's make them an offer they can't refuse. I pulled both of them close by the shoulders and made an offer in a hushed tone. What is it? Of course, that includes the part that Satoko and Riku-chan have already eaten some of. I'll even throw in the spoons. Splooge. A red mist spouted vigorously from the noses of the 2 underclassmen. Keiichi-san is also pretty good at this. Those are some very nice potatoes. Having brilliantly cleared the vegetable peeling challenge, I returned to my comrades in triumph. Whoa, amazing, amazing! Keiichi-kun's peeling is really good. That's not quite right. What Kei-chan has bared isn't a potato, but his fangs. Yeah, I'm super serious about this. I'll crush you all. Having finished with preparing the vegetables, next is to boil a pot of water, then add the vegetables in order which takes longest to cook. I learned this part from my mother when we went camping. But, just cooking in order, it probably won't garner a lot of points. Look over at Rena, she had a variety of vegetables cooking together in a delicate balance. She wasn't being ambitious or calculating a way to win the game. She was making delicious food with a mother's touch. I have a feeling that I could somehow compete with Mion in terms of technique, but I would be no match for Rena. She was way out of my league. When my mother makes curry, you see, she always uses lots of ingredients. That's why Rena's curry uses a lot of ingredients as well. I really wanted to take all night and stew it nice and slow. Oh. I beg of you. Will you please help just a little with my curry? No. This is one of our club activities. Rena won't lose. When she enters club mode, even the normally kind Rena becomes an enemy. Looks like Riku-chan is cooking apples as well. She's like a pro at this. How about Mion? What? Mion, you? What the heck is that? Where'd you get meat from? I predicted what we would be doing today by looking at the schedule, so I prepared accordingly. My curry is going to be marvelous! Nice. Translator. Upon closer inspection, it looks like Mion brought her own vegetables and spices and other ingredients. They were spread all over the place. Mion, just for today you brought all this stuff from your house? Objection! Chie-sensei, there's no way this is allowed, is it? Objection overruled. As long as it makes for delicious curry, anything goes. Ugh, for that normally serious teacher to go so far as to append a star to the end of her sentence. Just as the rumors said, she's a through and through curry freak. Ren and Rika-chan are naturally gifted chefs. I come with thorough preparations. And, Kei-chan, what about you? It's hopeless. In the grand scheme of cooking, peeling the vegetables is only a small part of it. The hurdles I must overcome are just too numerous and too high. Maribara-san, over here. Turning around, I saw the voices calling me belonged to the two underclassmen from earlier, Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun. I feel like they don't need to repeat that before part. What's up, you guys? What's up with that pot? Is that from your group? Switch this with your pot before somebody notices. I think that the curry the girls from our group made, at the very least, is better than what you could make. You guys, for me? Don't get the wrong idea. If you don't win, then we... That is... Oh, that's right. If I don't win, then the talk of eating Satoko and Rika-chan's curry goes right out the window. It seems like you guys are getting riled up about this too. Sorry. I'm in your debt. But I'm surprised the girls in your group agreed to this. Maribara-san, we're also serious about this. Filling in on day duty 3 times. These guys, to assure me victory, have paid the price. That gate is filled with burning conviction from my underclassmen. Yeah, I'm not fighting this alone. I'm fighting this with everyone. Leave it to me. Save some room, boys. I'll definitely let you eat your fill. We shall be eagerly awaiting your victory. It's a gas stove, so controlling the heat is easy. All that's left is to let it stew a bit. The delicious smell of curry began wafting upwards. The pot gifted to me by my 2 underclassmen certainly drew some double takes. Rena even looked surprised when she came to take a look, so it must be pretty good. Kei-chan, you're pretty good. It looked like this'll be a good match right to the bitter end. That's our looks. Rena wants to eat Keiichi-kun's curry. Curry! Rena's curry and Mion's curry too. Everybody is a worthy opponent. I've done my very best, but I'm not sure of the outcome. Keiichi-san, Rika's calling you. Go see what she wants. What? Rika-chan's calling me. What could it be? Sabotage. Well, whatever. While I'm at it, I can gather some intelligence on the enemy. Rika-chan was doodling on the ground in front of the pot, because all that's left is to let it stew. Even then, it's good to know that she doesn't leave the stove unattended, like I do. Hey Rika-chan, how's yours doing? It's Mr. Curry. Huh? Rika-chan was doodling something strange, and introduced it as Mr. Curry. Mr. Curry is amazing. He shoots beams from his eyes. Pew pew. Apparently Mr. Curry shoots beams from his eyes. Drawing a beam with a stick, she etched a line towards my feet. Does this mean I've been shot with a laser? Whoa! Barrier. Beam reflect. I took another stick in my hand and reflected the beam, striking Mr. Curry. Mr. Curry can shoot missiles from his stomach. Pshoo! Hwah! My super electromagnetic barrier. And retaliatory beam. Mr. Curry absorbs the beam energy and fires his impulse wave cannon. Rika-chan and I scratched at the ground, thoroughly engrossed in our dodo war. Wait a moment. Hey Rika-chan, you called me here for a reason, right? Yes, I called you. But I've already fulfilled my purpose. The music, perfect. At that moment, a chill ran up my spine. Already fulfilled her purpose? They got me! Head back to my pot, standing there just as I feared, was Satoko. With no questions asked, I drop-kicked the back of her head. Dang, drop-kicked, man! What do you think you're doing? You know better than to do that to a lady's head. Who cares about that? Satoko, did you mix something in with my How impert... I haven't fallen that far. Despite what you may think, I'm a fair person, you know. Then what's this incomprehensible line of ladles and plates? Leaving them all in these unstable positions. If they fall over, what will you do? At that moment, a gentle breeze blew by, knocking over a ladle that was stood up on its end. The ladle, like a domino, fell over and knocked over the next cooking utensil in a row. Whap, 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 whap. Clink, clink. Thud, thud. This is art. Come to think of it, Domino World Record challenges were quite the rage on television a while back. Kei-chan! The frying pan! I didn't even have time to react. The chain reaction knocked over a cutting board. Then a frying pan. The next after that was my pot. Crash! The frying pan struck my pot full force, tipping it over. The contents cruelly spilled out, and now my masterpiece was being sampled by the schoolyard. I stared, dumbfounded. It was such a beautiful and elaborate mousetrap that for a moment I lost touch with the reality. Oh my, this is a catastrophe. I didn't do anything, you hear me? Oh! At the very last moment, I had let my guard down. I ignored the culinary incompetent Satoko for far too long. Even if she couldn't cook, Satoko still had this method of fighting back. Just then, Rena, who had been sampling her own pot, let out a scream. What? Rena's curry is salty? Salty? Was Rena also sabotaged? Then what about Mion? My rice is salty. I've been had. Oh! With this, all the obstacles in my way have been taken care of before the fight even begins. All that effort wasted. So sad, so sad. So very, very sad. Riki-chan and Satoko rubbed my dumbfounded head to their heart's content. Pushing the desks together, it was about time for the meals to be judged. The delicious odor of curry spread throughout the courtyard. The members of the forestry service to whom we owed gratitude for their daily work were guided to their seats. The principal gave a bit of a ceremonial introduction. Next, the teacher expressed her desire for them to judge the curry contest. The men from the forestry service seemed to like that kind of thing, and gave their enthusiastic approval. Well then, is everybody finished? We'll now have all the judges sample your cooking. Everybody in the class brought up their painstakingly made curry and arranged them on the desk. The only club members who managed a decent result were Riki-chan's group. Knowing full well it was a failure, Rena plated her curry for the judges. She already knew she was going to get a low score. But at least she was still able to serve hers. Both Mion's and my curry were completely obliterated, so we couldn't even line them up on the table. The judges started from the curry made by the lower grades. They had a lively discussion, praising the food. Finally, it was our curry's turn. Next up is Ryugu-kun's curry. Yes, this looks quite appetizing. The principal cheerfully shoved a spoonful of Rena's salty curry into his mouth. Of course, his expression immediately changed. Oh my, what happened, Ryugu-san? It seemed so delicious when you were cooking it. Chie-sensei must have had some expectations, judging from her disappointment. Oh, I'm sorry. I might have added a bag of salt by accident. The rest of the judges grimaced after they each had a bite. I feel sorry for them. Failure is but the seasoning for success. I'm looking forward to next time. Do your best. Saying that, the principal devoured the rest of the oversalted curry in one go. Truly a man amongst men. Rena was down and out. Her offensive capabilities were something else, but she was defeated due to her weak defense. Well then, please savor our curry next. I see that Furude-san's group put a lot of effort into their curry. Let's see here. It's simple but very nicely done. There was also the incident with Rena's salted curry right before this, so the judge's assessment was extraordinarily high. Maybe not just extraordinary, but perhaps today's forerunner? The judges began a heated debate. One of those judges let out a sigh as he removed a chunk of carrot with his spoon. Yeah, this kid's curry really isn't half bad. But I don't like carrots, you see? Personally, I think that carrots are a staple of curry. But I guess to each their own. I gotta screen this for some people. There we go. However, seeing that, Rika-chan read the nameplate on the chest of his coveralls and began to speak. That's no good, Kyoji. You have to eat your carrots. What is she saying all of a sudden? Everybody turned to Rika-chan with a stunned look. But what Rika-chan just did was super effective. The carrot-hating judge just began stuffing his face with curry while tears streamed down his face. Kyoji, there's seconds if you want them. Sob, Mommy! While crying like that, he continued to shovel curry into his mouth. That's right. Rika-chan's curry was by no means simple. No, that curry had the taste of a mother's cooking. With the carrot-hating judge out of the picture, Rika-chan's assessment was unanimous. Oh, nobody can stand up to Rika's curry. Satoko let off a shrill laugh as she declared victory, but at that moment... Don't be fooled, my esteemed judges. Don't be deceived into thinking that this meager slop is the taste only a mother can provide. What you people actually wanted to eat was this kind of curry, wasn't it? Oh, all of a sudden in all its perfect glory, Mion's curry. Not only the judges, but the teacher, the underclassmen, and of course myself, could only gasp in admiration. Hamburg steak with a demi-glace sauce and a fresh salad. It's a set. It wouldn't be stretching it to say that this was a full-course meal. It's perfect. Perfectly made. Amazing. Amazing. Michan, you're amazing. Michan, you're amazing. Satoko was also shocked. Even Rika-chan couldn't hide her surprise. It seems the victor was decided without even needing a taste. Of course, the hamburger was hand-kneaded. The salad also had a home-style dressing, but of course, professional quality. And the curry, not even a micro on a grit. This is sublime. Truly a taste to savor Sonozaki-san. This curry is no doubt a living testimony to 6,000 years of Indian knowledge and beautiful harmony with Japanese cuisine. I'm elated. This deserves full marks. I'm giving it 100 points. Aw, you're welcome. I'm just trying to set an example as class representative. Mion bowed politely, and then winked at us with a smirk on her face. I admit defeat. There's no way this is happening. I'm certain I sabotaged that pot of rice. That's right. Satoko had dumped salt into Mion's rice cooker, which should have ruined it. At that moment, it hit me. I spun back towards my own canister. That's why! She took his rice. At some point, my cooking canister had been opened, its contents completely emptied. Damn you, Mion! Used my rice! That's no fair! Hand over half of your curry! Mion clucked her tongue and waved her finger at me as a smirk washed over her face. Whoa there, Kei-chan. You're not taking this seriously enough. You gave up at the last moment. I didn't. That's the difference between us. As soon as you give up, it's all over. Gah, I couldn't even properly voice my shame. Michan, I feel sorry for Keiichi-kun. Just give him at least a little. It's fine, it's fine. This is a lesson. Kei-chan just learned that you shouldn't give up on the contest until it's all over. Right? It loads me to say it, but Mion is right. To give up so quickly on the match was my own folly. For Mion to have brought that to my attention, I should actually be thankful to her. Well then, did that mean that even in this situation I shouldn't give up? My curry was overturned while it was still in the pot, and I don't even have any rice left. How in the blazes am I not supposed to lose hope in this situation? Maibara-san. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun suddenly appeared. Damn it. Even though my protégés had tried so hard, I wasn't able to meet their expectations. It was an accident. There was nothing you could do. Both of them were dejected. Gah, I couldn't accept defeat so easily. I was their senior. What would I do if I didn't pick up the broken pieces of the dream I had shown them? I just learned it from Mion just now, didn't I? Don't throw away the contest. Not until the last moment. Think, Maibara, think. Not about how to make more curry. About how to win the match. Ah! I had an idea. I didn't think it could turn the tables, but it was better than nothing. Tomita-kun, come and wash your hands. Help me out. Okamura-kun, there's something I want you to find. Okay, gotcha. Both of them dispersed after receiving these instructions. Oh? How is Kei-chan going to flounder about at the end? Why don't you show me? Nobody likes a stubborn fool, you know. Shut up. Just sit there and watch the last card I have to play. First off, Mion, I'll be taking some of your rice. I won't let you say no. I don't really care. It's salty after all. It's okay if Rena helps too, right? Keiichi-kun is in trouble right now. Hearing you say that is very reassuring. Well then, Rena, go make some tea. Oh, he doesn't trust me. Next, Satsuko. Also, Rika-chan. I challenge you to a side bet. What did you say? We'll listen to your request. This is my duty to my two proteges, who shed blood, sweat, and tears for my sake. Satsuko, Rika-chan, if I receive a perfect score, I'll be taking your curry. Nothing for you to eat. You need to know when to stop joking around. I'll be giving a big no to that. No, it's alright, Satsuko. Take him up on it. Firmly patting the top of Satsuko's head, Mion said those words with the gravitas of a club president. You handicapped him this much, didn't you? There's no way he can make up for that. So meet him head on. No matter how hard he struggles, he's not going to make a comeback. Right? That may be true, but I don't mind. Kate, go for it. Yay! The judges, seemingly growing tired of sampling the various curries, were debating each entry. From what little I overheard, it seemed that Mion's impending victory was not in question. By the way, what happened to Maibara-kun's curry? I still haven't tried it yet. Yeah. The pot with my curry in it fell over. Is that so? That's a real shame. I may have lost my curry, but that doesn't mean I've lost this contest. I'll have everybody singing my praises. My combative posturing had drawn the attention of all the judges. First of all, just be quiet and eat these, please. I'll listen to your complaints after that. This is my cooking! Maibara-kun, that's onigiri, huh? The judges smiled wryly at the simple fare that was quite in contrast to the preceding bravado. Rena poured tea into the cup she had brought over from the break room. He's making a mockery of this. There, look! There's not even any filling. It's nothing more than salted onigiri. This isn't even worthy of being called a contest anymore. It's true, the amount of salt might be a little much, but Rena's expression told me that she thought this was a great idea, but it might still not be enough to win the match. Maibara-san, is this really enough to make a comeback? Gentlemen, you did well. It's alright. Just watch. The judges were chewing with their mouths full and sipping at the tea. Nobody was singing praises or awestruck. They were just quietly chowing down. It seems that Kei-chan has learned how to use some rather underhanded tricks. This might be difficult. Yeah, that's right. Rena understands that now, too. What do you mean? Why is everybody just quietly eating that much? You see, Satsuko-chan, that's because the judges are actually tired of eating curry. Because they were judges, they had to sample each and every offering. Because they were from small children, because they were made to show their appreciation, they couldn't eat just a little bit of each. Sometimes a man values the amount more than the taste. At those times, rather than rich, mind-blowing flavor, they craved simplicity. They couldn't say it out loud, but this was the tastiest thing they'd had today. I confirmed that by looking at their eyes as the judges smiled wryly. I'll praise your efforts, but today's contest was about curry. I'm not sure we can give a score to this. The teacher and the principal had folded their arms while they pondered the situation. My underling, seeing that, saw the small glimmer of hope fade away and grew dejected. Was this little surprise just not enough? Don't give up, Kei-chan, Mian whispered quietly. That's right. If I didn't push here. No. I'll have you give it a score. If you think that curry and onigiri are really that different, you're surely mistaken. Sorely. Huh? Maibara-kun, what are you saying? How are they the same? The principal stopped the teacher. It looked like he was giving me one final chance. The judges, having eaten their fill, quietly waited for my statement. In its homeland of India, curry is usually eaten with the type of bread called naan, isn't it? Therefore, you could say that this cuisine we call curry rice is something that we have adopted and modified. Just as the teacher said at the beginning, it's a fusion of Indian and Japanese cuisine. I know what you're trying to say, Maibara-kun, but what does that have to do with onigiri? It's actually very simple. Both curry and onigiri are things made to let you enjoy eating rice. Rice was introduced to Japan from ancient China. Our agricultural forebears watered the fields, fighting the elements, disease, and pests to grow and raise our rice-centric culture. Yes, the Japanese people had formulated a plethora of dishes, but those were nothing more than attempts to find ways to enjoy eating rice. In other words, curry and onigiri are both the results of rice culture. It was scattered at first, but slowly grew into a steady roar. It was a thunderous applause that praised me. Enough with the nonsense already. I won't accept this. The teachers are only judging curry, you know. This is out of the question. It obviously deserves 0 points. Miss, Keiichi-kun did his best. Could you please acknowledge that? Today's class was supposed to be about curry. What should we do? Mian, stifling her laughter, stepped forward. There's a story about how when a Michelin 3-star chef from France came to Japan, the people from the hotel he was staying at had a whole bunch of ingredients from France imported. But the chef didn't even give them a second glance. I wonder why that was. They were ingredients from his homeland. The chef went to the local fish market and made a dish from fresh fish caught in Japan. The culture of food isn't bound by predetermined rules. It's culture. If you come to Japan, you meld with Japanese culture and make something new. That's how curry and onigiri are the same. Mion, she was providing fire support. I had to be grateful. The judges were somehow moved by this complicated yet baseless trivia. A stern look washed over the teacher's face as she refolded her arms. Maibara-kun, your pot of curry was flipped over, wasn't it? Even though I said at the beginning to be careful. I'm sorry. But, as Maibara-kun and Sonozaki-san said, there are no boundaries in cuisine. If it's something that can amaze people, then it's not something that should be discriminated against just because of the form. Then? For spilling your pot, minus 20 points. Just for today. For not giving up and doing your best, plus 20 points. I'll give you 100 points. Maibara-san, we did it! My underclassmen looked at me. Perfect score. We did it. The curry was spilt and our rice was taken. But we made a comeback. In the end, Rika-chan's curry also received full marks, so everybody at Rena had a perfect score. Since this contest was outside the scope of regular club activities, there wasn't any particular penalty game. Rena breathed a sigh of relief. Now then, as promised, Satoko, Rika-chan, I'll be taking your curry. That means we won't have any lunch. Wah! Satoko stomped angrily at the ground in frustration, but the price of defeat was absolute. Is what I wanted to say, but I'll show you some mercy. You can eat half. Thank you, Keiichi. My 2 proteges peered over from the sidelines, tears of joy streaming from their faces. We exchanged glances that would only be understood amongst men. We did it, Maibara-san. This is all thanks to you. We flashed each other a thumbs up. Now, I just have to give these to my pupils. I've gotten pretty hungry myself. I guess I'll have one of my onigiri. Wait, Huh? There was no trace of my onigiri. The ones I had set aside for myself included. As I peered around searching for them, the principal clapped a hand on my shoulder. Yeah! While I was listening to that speech you gave, the rice I was chewing grew even more delicious. Yeah! Could it be that you also eat my share? Yeah! The principal simply laughed without answering. Seriously? My eyes half brimming with tears and my stomach rumbling. I was called over by the teacher. Maibara-kun, because of the circumstances, I had to give you a perfect score, but you understand, right? Huh? Understand? What? There was an odd glint in the teacher's eyes. I had to describe it. It was curry-colored. Like a pot of stewing curry, her eyes whirled around in a spiral. A chill washed over me. The teacher clutched me by the shoulders and drew me in closer until our noses were almost touching. Curry is this world's most respected and sacred dishes. I will absolutely not allow it to be put in the same category as onigiri. You hear me? Curry was created in ancient India, one of the 4 great valley civilizations, and was raved about during the reign of King Ashoka in Kapilavastu for the birth of the shakya at the International Food Expo Michelin. Twirly, twirly. Even the Eiffel Tower was pickled in simmering curry turmeric. Whether you're asleep or awake, curry, 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 curry. Hey, Keiichi-san. What are you stumbling around for? Cleaning up is a part of cooking too. Keiichi-kun, your eyes are all curried. Why is that? Why? Curry, curry, curry. Yikes, she got him, huh? It's okay, he'll be back to normal by tomorrow. Probably. It wasn't that long before hunger brought me back to my senses. Flash forward. In the end, all of the onigiri was eaten by the principal, so I had to make do without lunch. Skipping lunch, I never knew the afternoon could be so long and painful. A feeling other than drowsiness made me space out. Are you alright, Keiichi-kun? That's why I said you shouldn't eat Rena's curry. As if I could eat this curry with enough salt in it to make my blood pressure rise just by looking at it. It's why I said as I initially refused. I could only regret it. The hunger. The stomachache. Well, well. You did a good job making it through. Your absolutely hopeless situation, that is. Kei-chan, you're pretty strong when you're cornered, eh? I don't need any compliments right now. I need food. There's something for you at home, right? We don't keep snacks lying around at home. Now I'm out of cup noodles right now. Oh, he didn't go to the mark this time. Since you're enduring that hunger so much right now, I'm sure tonight's dinner will be really tasty. I had absolutely no intention of laughing along. Well, then I'll take my leave. I have to remove the cat real quick. He'll come back soon enough, when it's lunchtime. I have my part-time job again today. It's really rough when you're not used to the work. Ah, that job at that Angel Mort family restaurant, huh? That uniform was somewhat stimulating. Oh, being a waitress really is hard work. Eh? Michan is working as a waitress? Really? Really? What kind of place is it? Oh, no, right. I'm working at that toy store from the other day. Shion is the waitress. Ah, my bad. I completely forgot that was how it ended up being. I'm sorry. You guys look so similar I mixed you up. Keiichi-kun, who's Shion? Ren asked the obvious question. Mion's younger twin sister. She's got a different personality, but she's a dead ringer for Mion. That's right. We look similar, but our personalities are completely different. I'm very kind and thoughtful, but Shion has a cold and scary personality. I feel that when you guys were born, Shion got all the feminine aspects. Unlike Mion, she's a cute, cheerful girl. Kei-chan, Ren interjected as her eyes darted back and forth from our exchange. Is that true? Ren has never met her. Michan, did you ever tell me you had a younger sister? Shion's existence was already being exposed as a cover-up. I couldn't help Mion out here. I can only have her in this charade. Oh yeah, I still haven't introduced her to you, Rena. My younger sister's name is Shion. I don't know. I didn't ask. I never met her when I went to Michan's house. Yeah, that. I'm the only one that lives with Granny. Shion lives at the family house in Okunomiya. We're not that close, so yeah, she doesn't come here too often. Rena's face indicated she wasn't sure if she was convinced. She was usually a bit of an airhead, but she was unusually sharp when it came to these kinds of things. Well, it's not a lie. Please believe me. As she said, yeah, I believe you, a smile suddenly blossomed on Rena's face. Rena wants to meet her. I'll go and see her sometime. What store is she working at? What store? That is... she's getting more tangled in her little web. I could tell that Mion was getting increasingly frantic. I wanted to help her out, but it was hard for an outsider to butt in on family issues. Sorry. I have to get to work. Later. Rena, Kei-chan. See you tomorrow. Unilaterally ending the conversation, Mion headed home. No matter how you looked at it, she was running away. We'll just label this one as an emergency escape. Michan was kind of cute. I wonder why. Rena giggled in amusement. And finally he gets home. I wonder when dinner is. Would lying down be the best way to conserve energy? I sprawled in the entryway without even taking off my shoes. As I was losing the last vestiges of my consciousness, the doorbell rang. It seemed I had a guest. Come on in. It's open. I directed my listless voice at the door. Good afternoon. Huh? Kei-chan, what are you doing? It seemed my guess was Mion, or rather, Shion. She seemed shocked when she saw me sprawled out in the entryway. Is that Shion? Wait, why? I thought that Shion's existence was an illusion that was limited when Mion was at the restaurant. That's why I never even considered that Shion would appear here. I heard from my sister. Because of club activities today, you weren't able to eat lunch, right? Yeah, it was a lot of trouble. Satoko spilled my pot and you stole my rice. But, I'm Shion. She grew red and began to mope. That's right, she was the younger twin right now. Sorry. What's up? Did you bring something for me to eat? Oh my. It's somehow disappointing that you hit the nail right on the head, but here. With a disappointed smile, Shion held out the small bento box she had hidden behind her back. Huh? You really brought something to eat? Thanks. There was still some of the ground beef left over from what my sister brought to school. I knew it was going to be right before dinner, but I wondered if you'd want it. Am I bothering you? Not even a bit. I'm really happy. Can I really eat this? Sneaking a look inside the box, to say that she just put some of the leftovers inside would have been a lie. There was an elegant meal stuffed inside. Is it really okay? There's not like a ton of hot sauce mixed in or anything, right? Jeez. I'm not my sister. I wouldn't do that kind of thing. If you don't like it, you don't have to force yourself. I'll just go home and eat it myself. Saying that, she pouted cutely and made a motion as if to snatch the box back. There were some times that made me doubt that she was the same person as Mion, and this was undoubtedly one of those moments. I don't mind at all. I want to chow down on it with thanks from the bottom of my heart. It's not something to be so thankful about that your nose has to run. Shion, who had thought that I might not take the bento, looked down happily. There's not much. Do you want to come in? I could probably make some tea or something. Ah, sorry. Maybe some other time. I'm on my way to work. Oh, that's right. She did say that before. Just rinse the box out with water and give it back to my sister tomorrow, please. Of course. It would only be the proper thing to do after being allowed to eat something that looks this delicious. Well then, I'll take my leave. One last thing. Shion grew red again as she looked down once more. During that contest with the curry, my sister took your rice without permission, right? My sister fools around too much, so sometimes she gets carried away. She wasn't doing it just to be mean. Hey, it's not like I mind that too much. There are no grudges when it comes to club activities after all. In fact, I should be the one that's thankful for all the thrills and entertainment. Could you tell that to Mion for me? Yes, I think. My sister will be very happy to hear that. Well then, I have to go. Shion smiled brightly. After bowing deeply, she left as she looked at her watch. That is an honor. I'm happy, but is this really okay? I looked at the bento box that she left behind. A faint warmth spread through the palm of my hand. If it were Mion, I could see some hot sauce, mustard, maybe even a needle being mixed inside. But really, I don't think she would go as far as putting a needle in there. Not in this world line. I opened the box once again and hesitantly tasted a bit. I took a bite. And another. There was no funny business. There was no danger at all, for it was delicious. That's right. That was Shion, not Mion. So there shouldn't have been anything to worry about. I rushed back to my room, eating as I gave my thanks. It was so delicious that my stomach could cry. Shion. No. Mion. When she heard I was so hungry I could die, she brought this over to me. It was delicious till the last bite. By the way, nothing strange had been mixed in. I was a bit embarrassed at myself for being so skeptical. You have received a new tip. It was delicious. Food for thought. New tips. Is this him handing him the lunchbox back? Hey, Mion, here. What is it, Kei-chan? I thrust the bento box she had given me yesterday at her face. It had the food you gave me in it. Thanks. It was great. Huh? Ah. Mion's face quickly flushed bright red. Hey now, you were the one pretending to be Shion when you gave it to me. You're going to give it away if you get all red like that when you're being Mion. At this rate, she might trip and fall right into her own grave, so I decided to help her out. Listen, I was pretty hungry yesterday. Out of the blue, Shion came all the way to my house and gave me some food in a bento box. This is that box. Make sure you wash it out. Right. Shion's really considerate, huh? That was so transparent. Was Mion always this terrible at lying? Her expression was different than usual, but it looked strangely cute. So, what did you think? You two are like peas in a pod. You're twins, right? Obviously you'd look the same. Not that. Mion looked kind of bewildered, like she was waiting for a specific answer. When she said impression, maybe she didn't mean Shion, but the bento? Oh, of course. It was delicious. Huh? Really? I never lie about liking food. If I say something's good, then it's objectively good. You can feel free to give my recommendations to every single person you meet. Tell Shion it was seriously great, alright? Okay. Tell Shion, right? I will. I think she'll be happy. We're going along with this, with Shion having given it to me, not Mion, aren't we? Yet her laugh, it came from deep down, and it sounded really happy. I guess she really can laugh nicely enough that just looking at her makes me feel better too. A sarcastic remark made it sway onto my tongue, but I swallowed it back. As Mion went to put the bento box in her bag, she noticed a clattering noise. Kei-chan, there's something inside. Huh? Wow. Gosh, she opened it? The thing inside was a little embarrassing, so I wish she hadn't opened it here. Panicking, I hid it with my hands. Wow. This is well. My mother told me to put them in as a thanks. I didn't come up with it or anything. Don't get the wrong idea. It's so pretty. Candy. There was a handful of candies neatly wrapped in paper inside the sparkly clean bento box. When I was cleaning the box out yesterday in the sink, Mom came over and interrogated me, and I fessed up as to who had given me food. Then she told me that something like this called for a display of gratitude. I didn't want to because it was embarrassing, so I argued that it wouldn't be like me to do that. Well, that's what happened. I mean, I was so embarrassed it felt like fire might shoot out of my face. Mion laughing the whole thing off like she usually did would be fine, but for some reason she was staring at the candy in the box with fascination. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank my mom, she put them in there. Besides, you're not the one I need to be thanking, right, Mion? Those are for Shion, okay? Ah, right. Right. Okay. I'll be sure to tell Shion. I just know she'll be happy. Mion, looking a little downtrodden, put the lid back on the box. Seems like I ended up saying something a little mean at the end. Mi-chan, you look so cozy today. Did something happen? Did it? Perhaps she's caught a fever? The red in her face is probably due to the increased body temperature. Hey, Rika. Why are you petting my head? Satoko, I'm sure you'll be able to catch fevers soon enough. Pet pet. Check a message real quick. Yeah, nothing. Okay. Get back to the next chapter. Continue. I might have explained this before, but phys ed at our school is really just an exercising disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. You're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. Not really sure, but doesn't the Board of Education have some sort of curriculum for this? Something like when you're this old you should have this amount of physical ability? I have no idea what you're saying, Keiichi-san. It's rather difficult to understand. Well, you see, it's something like a rule for teachers to follow during class. Maybe you weakling city folk need something like that. But do you really think us country-raised kids would lag behind in physical ability? We're better athletes than you would think, Keiichi. Come to think of it, they might be right. If we all lined up for a race, there was a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, the 100-meter dash isn't a club activity. On that note, I watched too much television, so I'm fantastically tired. I'll be using this time to catch up on my sleep. It's fourth period and I'm completely starved. If I don't sleep now, when will I ever? As I began to sprawl out on top of a pipe, Mion grabbed me by the collar. Do you really think I'd let you sleep in peace and quiet? That look on your face would require more courage to try and take a nap than not. Good grief. Which means, is it going to start again? Nah. Just killing time with idle chit-chat until the bell rings is impossible for us hot-blooded youth, isn't it? Shall we start a club activity? Just as I thought, it's come to this. What's today's game? Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, with this sleep-derived head of mine, I'm as good as minced meat. I have to get my brain into gear. Renna thinks that we should decide what today's penalty game should be before we start. Renna knows what's up. I've prepared something super special today. She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. But before she could do that, I'm sorry, I have something that I wanted to do. Of all people, it was Rika-chan announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Mion spun like a top as she tumbled to the ground. What? Huh? What's the matter? Are you not feeling well? Oh, that's right. Michan, she has to practice for the Watanagashi. That's right. It's this Sunday. Rika is in the middle of super serious training right now. I've been working too hard lately, so my arms hurt. I see. Well, there's nothing that can be done. There's no point in doing anything if we can't get everybody together. Today, let's just take it easy. I'm very sorry, but I'll try my best. Yeah, good luck. We'll be cheering you on. When Mion announced that today's club activity was cancelled, Rika-chan and Satoko headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everyone was talking about. What was that about? Is Rika-chan training for a competition or something? Rika-chan is a shrine maiden for the Watanagashi, so she has to perform a ritual dance. It's practice for that. Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, what is this Watanagashi? Next, what do you mean by shrine maiden? Last, what do you mean by ritual dance? Huh? Didn't you get the notice at your house, Kei-chan? Wasn't it written there? The Watanagashi festival is this Sunday. Huh? Couldn't think of it. I have a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. The Watanagashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on a Sunday every June. It's very lively. I see. But Watanagashi sounds like a pretty strange name for it. Is it something like a lantern festival where they have a memorial for the dead by floating things down the river? Oh, I figured you might guess right, Kei-chan. The Watanagashi, or Cotton Drift Festival, is, as the name implies, where we set cotton adrift down the river. The cotton, you see, is from futons or jackets. So it would be something like a futon memorial? They also pile futons up on the altar. I've heard of people leaving altars offerings of things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or to casualties of war. But an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? Mion tilted her head pensively. I don't think there's a complicated backstory to it. The winters around here are pretty harsh, so things like warm futons and coats to ward off the cold are fairly important, I guess. Ah, I see. In other words, it's something like giving thanks to the futons that took care of you during the winter then. And then the shrine maiden holds a memorial service for them and sets them adrift. That's what the Watanagashi is? Mion and Renna indicated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause. And you see? That shrine maiden performing the memorial is Rika-chan. Oh, so Rika-chan is a shrine maiden. Now that you mention it, Rika-chan does have a mystical air about her. Right? Rika-chan in a shrine maiden outfit. Oh! So cute! It certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute. I finally get what you're saying. Rika-chan's training is for her performance as a shrine maiden, then. That would be it. A shrine maiden has to purify a number of futons as part of the ceremony. It's practice for that. It's a lot of hard work. The shrine maiden has to carry a large ceremonial hoe as part of the rite, and it's really heavy for Rika-chan. Well, Rika-chan is pretty small. Exactly how heavy is that hoe? It's pretty heavy. Enough that Rika-chan has been practicing with a mochi mallet. Wait a minute. That's way too heavy. Forget about Rika-chan, that'd be rough even for me. It's a sacred ceremonial hoe. If she dropped it by accident, it'd be big trouble. Well, it's a once-a-year kind of deal. All we can do is cheer from the sidelines. It'll be okay. She pulled it off last year. Really? Then the least I can do is cheer her on. Even something that little would help, right? I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. Mion laughed as she shook her head. Leave her alone. If you go, Rika-chan will get all cute and won't be able to practice. I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying. You see, Rika-chan doesn't like showing people how hard she works, okay? So just leave her be. Even the always cool and aloof Rika-chan has times when she sweats while giving her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see an ungainly side of her. It's not like I couldn't understand that feeling. All I can do is pray for her success, huh? Do your best. Rika Furude. I'm cheering for you. Well then. I climbed up onto the pipe and plopped down on my side. Good night. Hurry, hurry, Rika-chan! In order to transmit more of my psychic waves of encouragement, I'll be entering a meditative state now. So you're just going to sleep after all? The lackadaisical noontime ended up giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition. I may have gorged myself a bit too much. I'll have to endure afternoon classes. Keiichi-kun, you had an amazing appetite today. Basically, you always eat like a pig. But today was on a whole different level. Yesterday I skipped lunch, right? That hunger just soaked right in. This time, no matter how much I ate, my hunger knew no bounds. I get you. But really, Kei-chan, you always finish your lunch down to the last bite. Heck, even down to the last grain of rice. With food, you show your appreciation for the person who made it by eating it, you know? If you leave any behind, it's rude to the person who put in all that effort. Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh. Kei-chan, really. At first glance, you seem unruly and irresponsible, but you're actually pretty conscientious. Well-disciplined or something like that. Ah, yeah, Ran thinks so too. Keiichi-kun is a lot kinder than he looks. Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all. That's not true. I just wanted to say that there's a big gap between your appearance and your personality. And I'm saying that's not a compliment. Hey, Sonozaki-san, Maibara-kun, we're in the middle of class. How far did you get, Sonozaki-san? Bring your notes up here. Stalled, Mion vocalized a rather easy-to-understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she had stopped working completely. Doing alright. You haven't progressed at all. You're in the highest grade, so you have to shape up. That Mion, it looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard. Appearances can be deceiving, in other words. Actually, appearances might be the opposite of reality. You say some interesting things. Responding to Rena's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Satoko was happily settling with Rika-chan. Are you saying that brat Satoko is actually really meek? If I went by what Rena literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Satoko being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale. Satoko-chan's been rude lately, but just a while ago she was pretty different. She acted really spoiled and always... Yep. Keep this a secret from Satoko-chan, okay? That's Satoko, acting so cute? For Satoko to play coy, I think that would have to be some part of some calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. But since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Satoko. Nope, not working. Hey, Satoko. What is it, Oni-sama? Satoko smiled cutely and walked towards me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Satoko took, for some reason I took 3 steps away. Hmm? Oni-sama, why are you running away? Sorry, Satoko. For you to approach me with an affectionate smile on your face, I just have to think it's some sort of trap. That's so mean. Oni-sama, you meanie. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to intend to be so mean. The weeping Satoko came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click. Clank. Huh? A bear trap? My leg was being clamped down on by jagged metal teeth. Oh, you fell for it. Now for the next part. Satoko raised her right arm triumphantly, and traps began to appear one after another. Suddenly, the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes hurtling towards me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me, was a giant guillotine. I'm not really sure, but Keiichi-kun, you're not thinking of anything completely ludicrous right now, are you? Not really. Not at all. That's a lie. You've got the kind of look on your face that says, I'm going to be crushed by a giant spiked metal ball. How could my expression convey why I was thinking like that? Sorry. Imagining a meek and gentle Satoko is impossible right now. I'll try again while I'm in better shape. Next, I looked over at Rikuchan, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Satoko, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rikuchan came at me saying, Oni-sama, I'd hug her. Tightly. I could get used to that. Keiichi-kun, you're drooling. Ah, sorry. Then, how about Rikuchan? Are you saying that her appearance is deceiving as well? Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rikuchan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she really was quite sly. Sweetly. How do you put it? Evading things deftly. I get the feeling that Rikuchan isn't only just sweet. Her appearance is definitely deceiving. I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Rena managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, Ah, you shouldn't say something like that. When Rikuchan grows up, I'm sure she'll become an incredibly devilish beauty, with men wrapped all around her little finger. Don't you think that would be cool? Rena said that lightheartedly, but I, as a man, couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was that it felt like it could be true. Noticing my gaze, Rikuchan turned towards me and let loose with an angelic smile. Both Ren and I, feeling as if that was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat. Oh, so cute, so cute. Ren, your nose is bleeding. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader Mion? I stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Rena's theory, that unrefined, calculating, conniving Mion also had a side of her that belied appearances. Like a Shion. And what you're saying is that Mion, despite her appearance, is actually a good person? Michan is a good person. Oh well, that is true. But what I'm trying to say is... Yep, I know what you're trying to say, Keiichi-kun. Catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Rena smiled even more brightly. Know what? Michan is mysterious, right? She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy. That's right. Mion was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Rena said. When Mion livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender. If she were a guy, we'd probably be like 2 peas in a pod. Although that's the same way it is right now. But you see, even that Michan is actually really feminine. Rena, how much did Mion pay you exactly? That's not true. Geez, I'm trying to have a serious conversation, you know? Rena began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke around. Michan is the club president, so she's trying hard to lead everybody. I just realized I didn't save. Oh well. Let's do that now real quick. But she's really a very cute girl. I really don't want you to forget that, Keiichi-kun. Rena's gaze focused off into the distance, beyond where Mion was. The Mion that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job. It was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly? Keiichi-kun probably couldn't even begin to imagine. As if to say it was our little secret, Rena held her finger up to her lips as she giggled. Mion, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment. This old man, you see, thinks that grade school is enough for everything you need to study for in life. Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine. Right. I wonder if I can meet Shion again. I want to talk to her again. Clang clang. The principal waved around the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everyone's homework assignments. Whoa, it looks like there's going to be a lot of homework today. Gotta buckle down. Well then, that means even Rena? Huh? What do you mean? Appearances can be deceiving. Would that apply to you too? Huh? Keiichi-kun, how do you see me? How? The Rena Ryugu that I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle ideal girl. Really? Then that makes me happy, I guess. If she was the opposite of what she seemed, that would make her. And if I were really the opposite... Just try saying it. I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant. Rena is. Rena is. Even if you were the opposite, you'd still be Rena. Right? This question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but even saying that took a strange amount of effort. That's no fair, Keiichi-kun. It bothers me when you say it that way. Oh. Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Rena's face began to burn red with embarrassment. Rena! Kei-chan! Let's go home. Mion walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing. The seal keychain. What's the matter, Kei-chan? The key to my house I always carry around is gone. Man, where did I lose it? It's fine today since my parents are home, but still, this is bad. That sure is troublesome. Did you forget it somewhere? Or did you drop it? Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh? Kei-chan, did that key have anything that would make it stand out? Yeah, it's on a keychain. It was a blue fur seal, something I made for some homework a long time ago. Huh. Does it have its eyes shut like it's taking a nap? Oh, how'd you know? Yeah, that's it. Mion looked away and began to whistle. See? You went for dinner at Angel Mort a couple of days ago, right? That night the staff found a key. And there was a fur seal keychain attached to it. As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it. Huh? So I dropped it then. But aren't you glad they found it? I'm sure they're looking after it for you. That's right. Why don't you go? Shion looks the same as me, so you'll know her by sight. This was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but go and meet with Shion. But I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time chatting with this other side of Mion might be interesting. Half-jokingly, I began to think about things like this. Right. Angel Mort, was it? I'll head over to Shion's restaurant and get my key back. While I'm at it, having a nice spot of tea might not be a bad idea. You sound like an English gentleman. That totally doesn't suit you, Kei-chan. Is this the restaurant? The one that Mi-chan's little sister is working at? Yeah, why don't we go together, Rena? Sorry to disappoint you, but I had plans with my father today. Some other time. Ren seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity. You said they're twins, but do they really look that much alike? Enough to mistake which is which? Yeah, they're totally the same. At least on the outside. Unlike Mion, she's well-mannered and really cute, though. In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking that I would be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion, a name for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. I noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Rena said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side. These feelings mixed together. That was Shion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. As I reached the top of the steep hill, the horizon expanded before me. I was almost at the station. The last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with Dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meet Shion, get my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiichi Maibara? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. Ah, the thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to the realization that I was downright giddy. That's why. For just a bit. Just a tiny little bit. I got a little carried away and did something really stupid. I kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. Jeez. Boy. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. I definitely think I got too carried away. Thunk, clack. Crash. As the three bikes toppled one after another, like dominoes, the loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses. Osh. The hell you think you're doing? The owners of those three bikes were right there. They looked exactly what you'd call thugs up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I had never heard before. The three of them beelined towards me, the worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly, as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I realized it, I had been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. Don't be playing dumb. You knocked him over, didn't you? Huh? The three thugs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away, my legs buckled, and my throat grew dry enough to crack. I'm sorry, I accident my ass. You kicked it, didn't you, dumbass? I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. The hell, man? The paint's all scuffed. Yo, brat, who put you up to this, eh? This is your goddamn fault. The three of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them were saying. Getting further enraged, I was only listening while dumbstruck. They grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. They then slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. Smash! The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This was not normal. It was something you saw often on television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you would call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze floundered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these 3 hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. Maybe this was what you call reaping what you sow. Or, in other words, in 30 years, we would call it karma. If I were a passerby, there would be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. So this was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something. I'll fucking stab ya. Angry, yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums spewed forth right in front of my face. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body, when suddenly a metallic taste fluttered through the back of my throat. A chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and gripped my teeth. But it never came. You're making quite the racket, you stupid pieces of trash. Get out of my sight. That voice was a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the 3 thugs spun around to look behind them. The fuck you say? Standing there was Mion. She stood there, displaying an imposing stature I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them. The eyes of a raptor. They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world. I'll only say this one more time. Let go of Kei-chan and get lost. Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those 3 wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in! Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work. Mion, it's dangerous. So what? I knew what I was saying was pathetic. But I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. At first, it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Mion, there was already about 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group that gathered was diverse in age and gender. The 3 thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are these guys? Behind them at some point, 4 more people of different clothes and ages had gathered. A girl who looked to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in a house-cleaning smock. More and more, people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Mion's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa? More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okonomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away! The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural, and depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together, back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. Alright, what's going on here? What's going on? It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. Oh, officer, good timing. There you go, the extortionist caught red-handed. Please arrest them. The fuck? This brat's the one that's wrong here. Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course the thugs were furious, but now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. Okay. Come over here for a sec. Come on already. The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars. The fuck, let me go. We're the victims here. Are you listening, damn it? No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the 2 vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. Are you alright? Are you injured? He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face. No, not really. Well, that's a bit of a silver lining then. Well then, have a good year. The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. Thank you, citizens, for your timely report. Thanks to your efforts, we were able to keep the peace today. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you for your hard work, Detective Oishi. As a citizen, I thank you for your daily efforts. It's an honor for a detective from the 1st Division to come out all this way. The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone. It was a coincidence. I happened to hear the call over the radio on my way back from the prefectural office. I just made a little detour. Please keep up the good work. I pray for success in your future endeavors. Aw, shucks. It's a good thing there were no injuries, though. Oishi-san, we're done here. Let's go. Well then, have a good year. I'm sorry, could you make way? It's nice they added his laugh after the first chapter, I guess. The detective named Oishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly, I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply. Alright, that's a wrap. And don't come back. That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up. Are you okay, young Marlborough? Next time pick your fights a bit better. It's not like I wanted to fight. Are you hurt anywhere? If you hit your head, it would be a good idea to get an x-ray taken. An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury. You were lucky this happened right in front of the station when it was busy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to gather as many people. Next time, be more careful. City kids these days are pretty unruly. Grumble. I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me. Well, you're pretty good, Kei-chan. But I also think you should be more careful about who you pick a fight with. Thanks, Mion. You saved my bacon there. Bacon. Like I said, I'm Shion. She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment. I heard from my sister. That fur seal keychain was yours, Kei-chan? Oh, yeah, that's right. I was just heading to the restaurant. And you ended up feeling so excited that you got mixed up in something weird? Now it was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on. Well, I was just unlucky. But you really saved me, Shion. You don't have to thank me. So if you see somebody else getting bullied, help them out, okay? We value that kind of thing here very highly here. I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie. But the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helped out, it was honestly to an almost disturbing degree. You're coming into the restaurant, right? You must be tired, so why don't you relax for a bit? My treat. Seems that she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. Man, the game makes you really question the Mion Shion thing a lot more than the anime as well. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I had been so stiff with the nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Here you go, iced coffee, on the house. Just bring this coupon with you to the register and it'll be no charge. My patheticness really knew no bounds. But since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it had started out as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I had completely ruined it. But really, you really saved my hide there. I've really come to see you as reliable. Even I was scared. But Kei-chan was in trouble, so I had to be brave and do my best. While a little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly. Shion, really, thank you. I was thanking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you. Now, cheer up a little. If you feel indebted, then when you have the chance, you should help somebody in need. Like, for example, if I'm ever in trouble, please come and save me. Ah, yeah, of course. It's a promise. You absolutely have to. Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise. So if I'm ever in trouble, Kei-chan will come and save me. I hope trouble comes soon. Ah, you finally smiled. She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek. A downtrodden Kei-chan is as good as an imposter. Sus. Come on, smile, smile. That tickles. Stop. Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little. Just gonna screenshot that as well real quick. Just give me a second. There we go. At least I'm pretty sure it works like that. Let me just make sure I'm not... Yep, it's fine. When you're in a better mood, don't you get a little hungry? I'm kind of hungry, so I want to eat some pancakes or something. Do you want some too, Kei-chan? I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without any. They're good, right? I'm pretty picky when it comes to pancakes. Waffles are better. Don't worry. Our pancakes have a pretty good reputation. Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of weird. Hey, speaking of that, wasn't Shion in the middle of a shift? She's been slacking off while talking to me. I told my uncle that you saved me when I was surrounded by hoodlums, so he's rewarding you. So I have the manager's permission. That's exactly the opposite of what happened. Is that alright? It's perfectly fine. By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit-chat. About what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food. Really, nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Maibara. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different? Kei-chan, you don't think of my sister as a girl, do you? That's not true. If she were a guy, I'd punch the living daylights out of her. I think the reason you guys get along so well is because you have that kind of platonic relationship. That's a pretty rare and enviable thing to have, don't you think? I don't get what you're saying. But it really would be a waste to treat her like a girl. Hey, Kei-chan, that's sexist. Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. What was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion. She was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations and head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this I had no doubt. And what about Shion? She was Mion's little sister. It hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant, as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion it was the same. I was somebody she had met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I had stopped listening to Shion. Hypothetically, okay? Are you listening? Ah, sorry. Yeah, I'm listening. This is just an hypothetical question, okay? You can end there. Both me and my sister are in trouble, okay? We're dangling off the side of a cliff. Which one of us do you save? You can only save one. She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice. That's not a nice question. I want to save you both, but I can't do that, right? Right. You can only save either Shion or Mion. Who do you save? If it were Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something she could easily get out of herself. But what about the normal frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice. It's not my sister, right? If Mion and Shion were different people, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine. In other words, that's it, isn't it? My sister is. Huh. Sorry, I messed up what I was trying to say. Shion was trying to talk in a lighthearted manner, but I felt that there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turns the conversation around. More importantly, just now. Were you surprised? When everybody kept on showing up. Of course I was. If it were Rena or Satoko, that would have been one thing. But for all those people, young and old, together? They were all from Hinamizawa, right? Yeah, that's right. Everybody in Hinamizawa is pretty close-knit. An enemy of one is the enemy of all. Nobody's going to look on from the sidelines. They're a pretty reliable group of residents. If somebody's being picked on, then everybody unites to get rid of the bully. It kind of sounds like the Mafia or the Yakuza's brand of unity. You shouldn't say something like that. It's something you should be thankful for. You were saved by that unity, weren't you? Never forget to show your appreciation. I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative. Everybody really is close-knit, aren't they? Maybe it's because of tradition? Hinamizawa has been in danger of becoming a ghost town on several occasions. There's been a history of the villagers uniting together each time to fight for the village's continued existence. For example, Kei-chan, did you know about the Hinamizawa Dam Project? Hinamizawa Dam Project? Let's see. I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before. About 10 years ago, there was a sudden proposal to build a dam here, which would have submerged Hinamizawa underwater. Oh, that story. I think I heard my dad talk about that. But I'm pretty sure that plan was cancelled, right? We made them cancel it. Everybody banded together. So that was a well-earned victory. That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protests intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended. The whole story with the dam apparently started before I was born. At first glance, the proposal was only for exploratory purposes, or a small dam to control erosion. But then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were complete, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowner sued the government, saying there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project. It was all very precious when the land acquisition was still about money. Eventually, they started relying on eminent domain in order to seize land. It started at that point. The riot police began to get violent. Riot police? You mean the police? Why would they act violent? They punched. They kicked. There was a time I was hit. Right around here, I think. My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spilled out. Saying that, Shion indicated her temple by poking at it. What happened to the police? Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties. My Nana went off like a firework. After that, it was amazing. Like a full-scale war. We weren't just going to sit by and idly file complaints. We went on the offensive. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project, and demanded his resignation. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, a ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose theme around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. More tied, but not cuffed. But day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago. We did everything we could. The entire village banded together and fought. At that time, we were desperate, but now that it's over, it's actually become a pretty good memory. The villagers' feeling of solidarity and unity still haven't faded. Shion said that as she focused off into the distance. I felt that those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride. That kind of solidarity is pretty nice. You don't see it too often. Bridging the generation gap and unifying the region. I think so too. The dam project was a trial. I think that just the fact we were able to overcome it is huge. The fear I was feeling until just now gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged with those thugs, I thought it was frightening. But now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. The sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Hinamizawa when the protests against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of solidarity. Kei-chan, you weren't here at the time, so I don't think you can fully feel the solidarity in the village. But everybody shares it. Thoroughly. Even with somebody who just moved here like you, Kei-chan. She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me out when I was just moved here. Even though they were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began welling up inside of me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural. But here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me. So Nozaki-san, the manager wants you to work the floor. A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time for work. Ah, okay, I'm coming. Sorry. Looks like I have to get to work now. It's fine. Thanks for hanging out with me. It was fun. Oh, are you going home? Yeah. My mom gets fussy if I'm not home by dinner time. It seemed that she wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed Neon like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little bit longer when Shion got up from her seat. Here, if you use the coupon, it should cover the pancakes as well. Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me. Convenient, isn't it? It's a perk I get on top of my salary. It's okay. I can pay for the pancakes myself. Hey. Being so reserved doesn't fit you, Kei-chan. But if I were my sister, you would have gladly let me pay for it. She said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me. So Nozaki-san, sorry, could you take care of the register? Ah, yes, right away. Later, today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at me. Oh, Mion, thanks a lot for today, I owe you one. If you really think that, then return the favor. I'm looking forward to it. After I said it, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. The bits of the Mion and Shion bits in this. Blazing around and watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. It might seem like a waste at first glance, but you could say it was an important time when I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to economics to various trivia. After dinner was valuable time well spent while the brain was at its most supplied with nutrients. You idiot, it's obvious that Tokyo Tower is taller. Ah! Today I tested my knowledge of trivia by watching my weekly quiz show. Sitting in front of the television, I was able to get a lot of the answers right. But if I were actually up on stage, I'd probably fail miserably. Keiichi, phone call from Sonozaki-san. Okay, Sonozaki. That's Mio. It was a little late for her to be calling. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a hunch it was something to do with club activities. She was probably going to inform me about what we were doing tomorrow. This was Mion we're talking about. She might even go so far as to say we're doing club activities right now, so hurry up and come over. By the way, it was 8 p.m. Hello? No way we're having a club battle right now. Huh? That's not it. I mean, it was Mion, but it was a very un-Mion-like way of talking. Huh? Could it be? Sorry. Could it be or not Mion? But Shion? That's right. Good evening. I'm sorry for calling so late. For Mion, this would have been an ill-fittingly polite way of talking. But since it was Shion, it was natural. Even though they were both the same person. With a dry smile, I enjoyed that mysterious feeling. No, it's fine. What's up? Kei-chan, do you like sweets like cakes or desserts? There was no way I hated them. I'm an unabashed glutton. That's great. Actually, there's a new dessert contest this summer. Looks like they have a new dessert menu every season. So they were hiring taste testers for potential desserts. The desserts at Angel Mort have a good reputation. It's pretty difficult to get accepted as a taste tester. I'll get right to the point. Ta-da! You say ta-da, but I can't see over the phone. Still, could it be? That's right. I have a taste testing ticket right here. If you don't mind sweets, how about it? When you say how about it, you basically mean, with that ticket I can eat all the new desserts I want? They say to beware of honey pots, but this is sweeter than any pot of honey. All you can eat free dessert? No way! If you're okay with that, I'll register you as a taste tester. When you come to the restaurant tomorrow, just give the person in charge your name. Then everything will work out. When you say everything will work out, you mean all you can eat? For free? Yeah, it's free. It's quite a bit, so I recommend you come hungry. This was such a delectable opportunity, it was almost scary. This was really Shion, right? It wasn't me posing as Shion in order to bait me into a trap, was it? What am I saying? They're the same person. Yeah. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kei-chan. You're thinking that this is too good to be true, right? I would never. Snort. I heard from my sister, but really somebody who can't tell a lie. I'm not averse to somebody like that. Shion laughed with a voice that sounded a lot like how Mion would laugh. It's not like I was intending on it, but it just so happens that my shift ends early tomorrow. If it's not a bother, I thought maybe we could spend a little time together after I'm done. Your shift ends early tomorrow. Yeah. So while you take your time eating dessert, I'll finish up. Well, I didn't have any plans anyway. I don't mind hanging out with you for a bit. It's not like we have to go anywhere. I was thinking we could cool off in the evening while we take a walk. There was no reason for me to refuse. Out of courtesy, I might as well take her up on her offer. By the way, Kei-chan, you and I have been meeting up every day, haven't we? Now that you say it, I guess we have. Since you said okay, we have an excuse to meet again tomorrow. Huh? What was Mion saying? Kei-chan, your voice just cracked. What's the matter? It wasn't a video phone, but she could tell I was beet red. Well then, you should definitely come tomorrow. I'll take my leave here. Good night. Good night. Shion finished what she had called to say, ended the conversation without any chit-chat. When I returned to the living room after hanging up the phone, the TV was already off and my mom was sleeping in the rocking chair. Not feeling like turning the TV back on, I went back upstairs and returned to my room. I've only been receiving favors from Shion, haven't I? She brought me a bento and saved me when I got involved with those thugs. She was supposed to be a different person, so I could thank Mion at school. Come to think of it, she'd probably just say she'll pass it on to her sister. I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow I'll have to repay her somehow. I suppose that's the end of the chapter, and probably a decent point to stop off for today. Higurashi when they cry. But first, we'll have some tips to go through, probably about the dam project again. Details of the Delinquent 3. That's so much better than I expected. You need tips. Just why you're arresting us. Bullshit. Let go of me. Kuma-chan, you can let go of their arms now. Here, please, sit down. The three people rubbed their arms painfully. Kumatani-kun and the others might have been squeezing them pretty tightly. No, don't get me wrong. I haven't arrested you or anything. Kuma-chan, go get me something cold from the fridge, please. Would you like your barley with foam or without? They plunked down onto the reception sofa, and despite not yelling anymore, they still had dangerous expressions. Well, I'd give to be young again. I'll drink even if you don't, you know. Excuse me for helping myself. Beer is best when you drink it on the job. As he downed the beer with glee, the three people exchanged glances, then finally reached out for their cans. They hadn't stopped being cautious. It was more like they didn't see a reason to refuse. They each opened their cans and began to drink the contents. Where did you guys come from? You're not from around here. They looked around at each other again, suspicious of whether they should tell him. Are you all college students? Friends on a trip? You were probably traveling on bikes or something. Sounds like fun I wish I was having. You don't live close by, do you? Where'd you come from? Osaka, perhaps? What's it matter to you? Now, there's no use to trying to intimidate me. You would have all been in a lot of trouble if I had left you there, right? They seemed to recall the thrilling event from earlier. While they could understand getting surrounded by students or a gang or something along those lines, they would never have been surrounded by locals, both young and old, both men and women, before. It was easy to imagine how scared they must have been. If you were from here, the people of Hinamizawa wouldn't have done anything to you, no matter what you had done wrong. They're all special, not in the sense of parents not wanting to get involved in their children's fights. If one person gets bullied, the village will come out in full force. That's not just an idle threat, you know. They couldn't argue against that. They themselves had been surrounded. They'd seen it with their own eyes. There was no doubt about it. Around these parts, if the people of Hinamizawa give you a glare like that, you'll simply get demoned away and no one will hear from you again. You'll suddenly disappear without a trace. Do you all have families that would get the police to search for you if you went missing? If not, then that's bad. You'll vanish and that'll be the end of it. Even then, we got there soon enough that nothing happened. If we'd been late, things could have taken a turn for the worse. If they'd been forced into an alleyway, these young men wouldn't be sitting on a couch right now. They might be lying on an autopsy table. Well, probably not. Anyway, perhaps they'd be a little more cooperative if we'd found them as corpses. How'd you all get to Okonomiya? By train? By bike? Bike. That's not good. They're still parked there, aren't they? If you go waltzing in to get them back, they really might gang up on you. How's that? We'll take them all. Calm down, calm down. Why are young people these days so quick with shouting? I think this chapter has a lot of quotation marks missing. You don't want any more trouble, right? Tell me the bike license plate numbers. I'll bring them here for you. Kuma-chan, please borrow the loading truck we use for traffic disasters. Got it. It's fine. We'll get them ourselves. Do you really want to get surrounded again? The police may not be fast enough to save you this time. It's fine, isn't it? If we're surrounded, they're going to get knocked down. Hey, you three. You're drinking the barley with foam, right? Try turning your engines on. I'll arrest you on the spot for drunk driving. You? That's fucking dirty. Your tax dollars will be put to good use in bringing all your bikes back here. Quit complaining and tell me the goddamn license plate numbers, you pieces of shit. The three were hesitant to tell him the numbers. They were mumbling something along the lines of not remembering them since they had just bought the bikes. Well, that's what I thought. Kuma-chan, go with the truck and bring the bikes back. Get the tough-looking red Yamaha, the one with the broken right tail light, and the white one that had the packing tape stuck to the seat. It's those ones. They belong to you, right? They didn't answer. Those must be the right ones. Oishi-san, the truck is here, so I'll get going. Yes, please do. Wait, Kuma-chan, hold on. One more thing. What's up? Look up the numbers. You don't want to bring the wrong ones back. The three people's faces changed color. They made themselves very easy to understand. Let's take it easy here until your bikes get back. There's more beer, you know? We have some snacks, too. Want to watch TV? There's probably nothing on, though. Nah, thanks. We's leaving. Don't want to hang here forever. Suddenly there were 5 or 6 officers surrounding them. Their clearly overpowering stares nailed them to the sofa. What? What did we do? Going on a trip by stealing motorcycles, huh? Students these days have too much time on their hands. So it wasn't even their bikes they were complaining about. They stole them. That's hilarious. Alright. Now we'll save and stop here for today. And then on Tuesday, we'll start up... What is it called? Dishonored Death of the Outsider, which I haven't played. So it'll be completely fresh for me. Hope you all have a good rest of your day and weekend. I'll see you then.